have variable size on the organ, whether it is liver, spleen, bursa, even in lungs, heart, etc. Lungs, heart, the mesentery, the kidneys, everywhere they can be seen. But very commonly in liver, spleen, and bursa, they will be always involved. So the tumor size is variable. It can be say uh, say few millimeters to as large as 5 centimeter in size. Very few millimeters, less than half centimeter. Okay, to as large as 5 centimeter are seen. Generally, they tend to be multiple in numbers, spherical in shape, although sometimes flattened. Spherical in shape, although sometimes flattened. In some cases, there is development of small pearl-like tumors. Small pearl-like tumors. We say them miliary tumors. Small pearl-like tumors. We say call them as miliary tumors. These are they will be 1 or 2 millimeter in size and similar in size and numerous. Typically seen in liver. Very commonly seen in liver, and they are also present. If you cut the organ, you will find them even inside the tumor, inside the parenchyma of organ. The In some cases no obvious lymphoma is seen, but organ will show diffuse enlargement. Liver and spleen will show diffuse enlargement, like we have discussed in Marek's disease. Organ may or may not show lymphoma, separate lymphoma, but the organ will be discolored, uneven surface, and diffusely enlarged. All right. The the lymphoid leukosis. Okay, I'll later on discuss about the pathogenesis of lymphoid leukosis. But please remember, the lymphoid leukosis affected bird will always show presence of tumorous bursa. Doesn't matter how old it is. It is not true bursa. It is tumor of bursa. If you find in an old bird, a nodular bursa, you understand this bird is affected by lymphoid leukosis virus, avian leukosis virus, and is prone for lymphoid leukosis. All right. The histopathology will show focal and multicentric merging foci of lymphomas. Focal means separate, multicentric means forming in the different areas, localized and forming in different areas, but at some point they start merging. This is very characteristic appearance. Tumor cells do not infiltrate the parenchyma like Marek's disease. Tumor cells do not infiltrate the parenchyma like Marek disease, but they compress out the surrounding tissue. They compress out the surrounding tissue. Okay. They do not infiltrate, but they replace out the parenchyma. Marek's disease, initially there is infiltration of organ, and then they will start replacing out. Okay, but by then the animal dies, bird dies. But in this case, the tumor cells, they form a separate focal lymphoma which grows by replacing out the surrounding cells. The uh, the bursa will show follicular pattern of tumor growth. The tumor cells, lymphomas, actually appear as follicles of bursa. If we see now, first of all, when we say 14 weeks, by 14 weeks, bursa is not there, or 30 weeks, bursa is not there, or any other stage. Even if it is having the bursa, even if the bird is having the bursa, young enough to have bursa, still the tumors will form in the pattern as if the follicles are there, because the tumors are mostly transformed B cells. target cells are transformed B cells. And these transformed cells are large lymphoblast. Large lymphoblast. The population of cells is uniform. Population of cells is uniform, and they express on them IgM. They express on them IgM and other B cell markers. IgM and other B cell markers. So if we have a question, differentiate between lymphoid leukosis and Marek's disease. Differentiate between lymphoid leukosis and Marek's disease. So we can point out this very important aspect of these two diseases, that in Marek's disease, the surface antigen is MATSA, Marek's disease associated tumor surface antigen. While in lymphoid leukosis, the tumor cells express B cell markers and IgM marker on the surface. In leukemic cases, the blood of the bird will show very large buffy coat. In leukemic cases, the blood of the bird will show very large buffy coat on centrifugation. All right. So we cover lymphoid leukosis here. If I discuss the pathogenesis, common pathogenesis it happens with other diseases also, other which we will see subsequently. But here I would like to discuss about the virus replication, which is common to all, and pathogenesis, which is very similar to other types of tumors which we will see later on. So virus first invent. We will discuss the pathogenesis. Pathogenesis, keeping the lymphoid leukosis as prototype. Keeping lymphoid leukosis as prototype. Wherever the differentiation is there, I will discuss at points. So virus penetrates the host cell and synthesize the cDNA. Reverse transcription. Virus will penetrate the host cell and synthesize the cDNA. The cDNA is double-stranded complementary DNA. Double-stranded complementary DNA. This double-stranded complementary DNA tends to integrate into the host genome. It will go and merge with the host genome, get inserted there. And sometimes as many as 20 copies of cDNA are found in one single cell. You can understand at so many places this DNA will get inserted in the chromosomes. The viral genome on both sides have repeating nucleotides called as LTR, long terminal repeats. The viral genome on either side, on the both ends of the viral genome, the cDNA, it will have LTR, long terminal repeats. There are nucleotides which are repeated. There is same nucleotide again and again. The long chain of same nucleotide. Long chain of same nucleotide. Now, this LTR, long terminal repeat, has got tendency of inducing the transcription of the DNA. This LTR has the tendency of inducing the transcription of the DNA. So therefore, invariably, viral genome will be expressed. Viral genome transcription will be taking place. Viral proteins will be synthesizing. But since this is uncontrolled transcription, this is uncontrolled induction of transcription, therefore, all subsequent genes below this insert of virus, all subsequent genes below this insert of virus, they also get expressed. All right. Now, if suppose one of those genes is a proto-oncogene, proto-oncogene, that means it is still not converted completely into oncogene. Yeah? It's a proto-oncogene. Then that also starts expressing an uncontrolled proliferation of cell takes place. And uncontrolled proliferation of cell takes place. So if the question is asked like this, that the slow transforming virus is complete virus or incomplete virus, the answer is complete virus. Slow transforming virus is having complete genome. First point. Second point, slow transforming virus contains any oncogene? Answer is no. Slow transforming virus do not contain any oncogene. Hmm? Third question. Slow transforming virus utilizes C-onc or V-onc, means cellular oncogene or viral oncogene. The answer is it is having no viral oncogene. So, because it is a complete virus. Hmm? So, it is utilizing the, or I should say, it is inducing the tumor genesis by oncogenesis by the C-onc, the cellular oncogene. It is having no viral oncogene. Okay. So, it induces tumor by cellular oncogene, proto-oncogene. Hmm? Okay. Another question goes like this. What is the mechanism of what is the mechanism of the the transformation of neoplastic transformation by slow transforming virus? What is the mechanism? Single word means what is the core concept of neoplastic transformation by slow transforming virus? Answer is by by promotional insertion. Okay, or the virus genome acts as the uncontrolled promoter of oncogene. Acts as uncontrolled promoter of oncogene. And who is responsible? What are the two factors responsible for uncontrolled promotion of the oncogene? First is it is inserted just above the oncogene. It is inserted just above the oncogene. Second is it has long terminal repeats which induce uncontrolled transcription of virus and also all following genes. Therefore, there is slow transformation of the slow transformation of the cell into the neoplastic cell. Viral oncogenesis, slow transformation I'm talking about. Is it clear? Anybody having any doubt?
Sir, please repeat
Yeah.
the second factor.
Just remind me which one it was.
The two factors for the uncontrolled promoter of oncogene.
Nahi, see, sometimes na, I don't remember the sequence in which point I spoke which about which. Just give me a hint. What was the second point? Anyone else can also give me the hint. I will explain it.
Actually,
Just give
sir,
me
I
a
have
hint.
written up to it is inserted just above the oncogene, and after that there was something I missed
Ah,
it. Sir.
it is inserted just above the oncogene, proto-oncogene, which is not it is not functional oncogene. है ना? It is a normal cellular proto-oncogene. Okay, it is inserted. The virus genome gets inserted just above that. And now virus genome is having long terminal repeats on both sides. And because of that, it is having uncontrolled transcription. Uncontrolled means cell cannot stop it. So it is typical virus behavior. It will anyways transcribe its own proteins. But when this transcription is induced, all subsequent gene coming in that series of chromosome, they also get start expressing themselves. And one of them is oncogene, then that also gets expressed. And uncontrolled proliferation of cell takes place. Okay. Mhm. Uncontrolled proliferation of cell takes place. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
This is slow transformation. है ना? By promoter insertion and promotional insertion above the oncogene, above the proto-oncogene or c-onc. Proto-oncogene is sometimes also called as c-onc. Anybody still having any confusion? Yes. All right. All right. So this then another method is that is acute transforming virus. Acute transforming virus is an incomplete virus. Incomplete virus. One of the uh, one of the gene out of the three genes, that we have discussed earlier in the chapter. One of the gene, that GAG, pro or pol, generally it is non-specific gene. That is I should not say non-specific. Out of these three, any gene can be replaced. Any gene can be replaced, but it can be polymerase also, or it can be the protease also. Generally, polymerase gene is replaced. Okay, although it is not specific, it can happen to any other. I should say there is non-specific replacement. However, because of this, what happens is the virus is incomplete virus. Now, what happens is it is this replacement is by a oncogene from cell, infecting cell. This happens because of the uneven insertion, or I should say wrong insertion of the virus genome. And during this uncontrolled transcription of oncogene, instead of including the all three important genes, some virus particles will include the oncogene instead of, say, the GAG. Okay, so many times GAG gene is replaced. Many times the say the pol gene is replaced. Any gene can be replaced. I'm not denying that, but yes, non-specific replacement. But in this example, I'm saying that, say, pro and pol are uh, taken and GAG is left out. Instead of GAG, we have a third gene, that is proto-oncogene, included in that. Now, this proto-oncogene, once included in the viral genome, becomes the V-onc. This viral genome, once it is in the viral genome, it becomes the V-onc, or viral oncogene in a defective virus. And because it is already having oncogene, so when this virus genome gets inserted into the new infected cell, it will immediately start expressing uncontrolled expression of the viral oncogene. And immediately the cell proliferates and starts transforming towards the neoplastic cell. Okay, so acute transformation. Now, this type of virus, this type of incomplete virus cannot actually form the uh, infective virus particle. It does not form the infective virus particle, provided there is also presence of, like I have seen 20 copies are inserted. Suppose there is also presence of one complete virus, that will actually induce formation of complete viral. So there has to be a concurrent infection with a complete virus and an incomplete virus to give rise to new progeny virus, new complete progeny viruses. A defective virus of acutely transforming defective virus cannot by itself form the new uh, complete virus particles. It will be always aborted infection. All right. Any confusion in this? Anything you want to ask? Yes. Yes. Okay. Let us go ahead. Uh, the um, the gene this the for lymphoid leukosis for lymphoid leukosis, uh, the gene typically associated, the oncogene is c-Myc gene in the c-Myc gene in the bursal B cells. Bursal B cell in the bursa it starts, generally in bursa it starts. The the formation of tumor cells for lymphoid leukosis generally begins from the bursa, and the gene involved is c-Myc, cellular myelocytoma gene, c-Myc gene. c-Myc gene is involved with these. Although there are other genes also involved in this, but please remember this c-Myc gene. Then we go to erythroblastosis. Erythroblastosis, also called as, like that was called as lymphoid leukosis. This is called as erythroid leukosis. Erythroid leukosis. Uh, Typical affected age group are 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 months. Hmm? Grossly, the liver, kidney show moderate swelling, but spleen is greatly enlarged. Liver and kidney show moderate swelling. Yes, they are enlarged, but moderate enlargement. But spleen is greatly enlarged. It becomes cherry red to mahogany in color. Mahogany is a redwood, huh? Very expensive redwood. It becomes cherry red to mahogany red in color. It is soft and friable, and the content may be semi-liquid to solid, semi-liquid to solid content of the spleen. The bone marrow is hyperplastic, semi-liquid and red in color. The bone marrow of such birds is hyperplastic, semi-liquid and red in color. The petechial hemorrhages, petechiations develop on muscles, subcutis and viscera. Muscles, subcutis and viscera. There is thrombosis, infarction, and rupture of liver and spleen. There is thrombosis in various organs, infarctions in various organs, and also rupture of liver and spleen leading to fatal hemorrhages. In severe cases, there will be anemia. Why anemia? Because abnormal bone marrow is there. It is not normal. Bone marrow appears hyperplastic, red, but it is not normal. It is not producing normal red cells. There is, in severe cases, there is anemia and also atrophy of visceral lymphoid organs. They may be enlarged also, and there may be a stage where they are atrophied, particularly spleen. Once spleen is atrophied, then after infiltration by the tumor cells, it starts enlarging uncontrollably. Okay. So in such birds which are anemic, this in stage of anemia, where the tumor is still developing in the bone marrow, and lymphoid organs are still showing atrophy, the blood is watery and light red, and and clotting is weak. Blood is light colored, light red, and clots very slowly. It is watery blood. Once after this, the erythroblast starts infiltrating, the spleen will grow. The bone marrow appears hyperplastic, and the blood definitely may appear. In this case, blood appears dark red with smoky overcast. Dark red and smoky overcast. If I say what is happening, initially there is reduction in lymphocytes, there is anemia, pale watery blood, the the lymphoid organs become small, but when the tumor proliferates or in very acute cases, there is infiltration by tumorous erythroblast and they make the blood dark red and smoky overcast. That means blood will show the blackish wave like pattern if we collect and observe the blood against light. Hmm? Okay. In histopathology, the bone marrow will show uh, blood sinusoids filled with erythroblast, immature erythroblast. Blood sinusoids in bone marrow will be filled with immature erythroblast, and in advanced cases, there is formation of homogeneous sheets of erythroblast in the bone marrow. And very little myelopoietic area is left out, which is producing the WBC. Very little myelopoietic area is left out. And almost all adipose tissue is replaced out by the erythroblast. Almost all bone marrow adipose tissue is replaced by the erythroblast. Hmm? The visceral organs show accumulation of erythroblast, especially the organs having blood supply in sinusoids like liver, like spleen. The visceral organs show presence of excessive blood in the sinusoids like liver, like spleen. They are all congested with the erythroblast. In the liver, definitely sinusoids, and spleen. Worst affected is red pulp. Splenic red pulp. However, there is a point that erythroblasts tend to remain intravascular. They tend to remain intravascular, but their function as the blood cell is very weak for carrying the um, oxygen is very weak. The uh, the gene that is transformed, the oncogene associated with this is CERB, C dash ERB small capital B, CERB, or also VERB. Now, CERB is cellular oncogene, erythroblastosis B gene, and VERB is defective virus carrying the viral erythroblastosis B gene. Okay, this is the gene that is uh, uh, responsible for the neoplastic transformation of erythroblast. Then myeloblastosis. Myeloblastosis, also called as myeloid leukosis. Myeloid leukosis, uh, seen very rarely. And one of the, as I said, in that case, in erythroblastosis case, the liver was showing cherry red, the spleen was showing cherry red or mahogany red color. Even liver shows mahogany red color. Okay. In this case, myeloblastosis case, the liver is greatly enlarged, formed with diffuse grayish tumor and Morocco leather appearance, spotted Morocco leather appearance. Okay, Morocco leather appearance is there. Okay, there is small granular spots. Okay, mottled appearance, giving it Morocco leather like appearance. Okay, the spleen and kidneys also show diffuse infiltration and moderate enlargement. Please remember, in myeloblastosis case, the infiltration is seen instead of the formation of typical lymphoma. Yes, lymphomas are there. They are very small in size. Okay, so infiltration is seen more as compared to lymphoid leukosis, where lymphoma formation was more. Okay, although microscopically it can be differentiated from the Marek's disease very easily. Bone marrow is replaced by solid yellowish gray tumor cells. Bone marrow does not appear red or fatty, it appears solid yellowish gray because all the myeloblasts have replaced out the normal bone marrow. Okay, there is severe anemia and severe leukemia. This myeloblastosis leads to severe leukemia. In lymphoid leukosis, leukemia may or may not be there. Yes, it occurs, definitely occurs, but uh, you may not see it very pronounced all the time. You need a good differential leukocyte count, DLC slide, to see that whether it is prominent or not. Sorry, whether it is present or not. Huh? But in myeloblastosis, blood shows severe leukemia. 75% of peripheral blood shows myeloblast. There is very, very large and thick buffy coat. Very, very large and thick buffy coat. In case of lymphoid leukosis, buffy coat will be thickened, definitely, but only in leukemic cases. But in case of myeloblastosis, buffy coat is very large. The RBC portion is very small. Hmm? Okay. And the bird shows severe anemia and thrombocytopenia. Anemia and clotting disorder, thrombocytopenia. Hmm? Histopathology, the myeloblast show intravascular and extravascular accumulation. Intravascular and extravascular accumulation. In spleen, the major part affected is red pulp. Major part affected is red pulp. Hmm? And in bone marrow, this deposition or this tumor formation starts from extrasinusoidal area. Extrasinusoidal area. Hmm? A blood smear will reveal numerous tumorous myeloblast. A leukemic blood smear, definitely leukemia occurs here. The majority of cells will be tumorous myeloblast. Numerous tumorous myeloblast. Hmm? Okay. The gene responsible for this is VMYB. V-MYB. V-MYB. Hmm? Okay, V-MYB gene is responsible for myeloblastosis. Hmm? Next manifestation of this ALC is even leukocytes complex is myelocytomatosis. Myelocytomatosis, they occur on this, they grossly we see the tumors on the surface of bone, especially in association with periosteum near the cartilage. Myelocytomatosis mostly occurs in the bone in association with periosteum near the cartilage. Hmm? Uh, uh, Definitely, this is the common site, but visceral organs and other organs also show the presence of tumors. Does not mean it cannot occur in other parts. Yes, it can occur in other parts, but when bone is more involved, we should suspect myelocytomatosis. The costochondral junctions of ribs, inner sternum, pelvic bone, cartilaginous bones of mandible and nares, the flat bones of skull in oral cavity, in trachea, around the eyes, we can find the tumors. Once again, I will enlist costochondral junctions of ribs, inner sternum, pelvis, cartilaginous bones of mandible and nares, cartilage part of the nose and the lower jaw, flat bones of skull, oral cavity, trachea, and even around the eye orbit. In the eye orbit, around the eyes, we find this. The tumors are nodular in shape. Tumors are nodular in shape. Can you hear me? Yes. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Oh, all right. Thank you. These tumors are nodular in shape. They are multiple in number. These myelocytomas are nodular in shape, multiple in number. They are soft and friable and creamy in color. Soft and friable and creamy in color. The main virus subgroup associated with this is subgroup J. Subgroup J is there. Apart from skeletal region, this virus also affects the spleen and liver and also causes myelocytic leukemia. This virus also, this type of tumor also affects the spleen and liver. They are enlarged. Even other visceral organs can be enlarged and also causes myelocytic leukemia. Myelocytic leukemia. The tumor, the histopathologically, the tumor consists of the uniform, well-differentiated myelocytes. Uniform, well-differentiated myelocytes. In liver, they appear around the blood vessels, and in spleen, once again in red pulp. In liver, they appear around the blood vessels. Of course, later they appear in the parenchyma, but initially they start from the blood vessels, and in spleen, they appear in the red pulp. In the bone marrow, also they are present in extrasinusoidal myelopoietic area. In bone marrow, also they are present around the extrasinusoidal extrasinusoidal myelopoietic area. The the bone marrow, sorry, excuse me. In bone marrow, they show the crowding out of the normal cells. In bone marrow, it shows the crowding out of normal cells, and therefore the anemia, thrombocytopenia, the leukopenia, etc., start developing, and there is myelocytic leukemia. There is myelocytic leukemia. Okay. The the gene involved is c-MYC and v-MYC. C-MYC and v-MYC. c-MYC and v-MYC genes are involved with this virus. So, with this, I will conclude this class here itself. Okay, and the remaining portion will come to complete in next class. CR has joined or not?
No, sir.
Okay. Anyone can coordinate with Jhaluki? The assistant CR or someone is there?
Sir, I will contact with CR and I will let you know, sir.
Please you contact with CR and we can fix a time. I want it better for your convenience where you people are available.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
you people are my primary responsibility.
Okay,
Whether
sir.
you learn the lab animal pathology or not, that is more important to me. I'm not against Jhaluki people, please. Don't think like that. But I want it according to your convenience. First
Okay.
of all. All right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Lymphoid leukosis. Another manifestation of this lymphoid leukosis is hemangioma. Hemangioma. Hemangiomas are diffuse blood vasculitis. I see blood vessel. Blood vessels are present here. Ideally, hemangiomas can be anywhere. However, there are some special, some, I should say,
Sir, your
some
voice is not clear.
with Is it clear now? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. So once again, I start with hemangiomas. These are tumors of blood vessels, found associated with blood vascular system and typically tumors of blood vessels where uh, at least the tumorous endothelium will be always found. And because blood vessels are present everywhere, so we can have that we can assume that uh, these tumors can be found anywhere, but instead there are some common sites, typically in the visceral organs and also on the skin, typically on the visceral organs and also on the skin they are found. And with the avian leukosis complex subgroup J, hemangiomas of skin in broiler chicken have been reported very commonly. The subgroup J with the uh, broiler chicken skin hemangiomas, also called as blood blisters. Blood blisters. So these appear as blood-filled cystic spaces. Hmm. These appear as blood-filled cystic spaces, uh, and sometimes they appear as solid tumors. Sometimes they appear as solid tumors, and when they are present on skin, they often get damaged and bleed and lead to formation of uh, the hemorrhages. Hmm? And even sometimes blue wing disease, etc., can happen. I don't write blue wing disease as such because I should say gangrenous dermatitis can happen in many cases. Okay. Histologically, there are uh, cavernous spaces. One more point in gross. A dead bird may show fatal hemorrhage around the hemangioma in the visceral organ. Visceral organ hemangiomas also break and lead to fatal hemorrhages. Visceral organ hemangiomas also rupture and lead to fatal hemorrhages. Histopathologically, there are different types of manifestations. One common one, especially seen on the skin, is the cavernous hemangioma. Cavernous hemangioma, which denote greatly distended blood spaces or blood-filled cavities, which have large blood-filled cavities with thin walls composed of endothelial cells, or associated fibrous connective tissue or associated fibrous connective tissue. Hmm. There are other manifestations also like capillary hemangioma, capillary hemangioma, where endothelium proliferates into dense solid masses, where endothelium proliferates into dense solid masses with presence of few blood channels, with presence of few blood channels. Then uh, the if I say which subgroup is associated typically with hemangioma, any subgroup can cause any tumor, but very typically ALCJ is reported, and the age group is between say 4 to 6 weeks of broilers. Young, I should say grower broilers and finisher broilers also show it. They typically show these blood blisters, hemangiomas associated with the ALC, and typically ALC, or I should say avian leukosis virus subgroup J. Hmm. Uh, the molecular mechanism is still not known about this type of tumor as per the books till now I have referred. Okay. Then there is nephroma and nephroblastoma. Nephroblastoma is also called as Wilms tumor, WILM. I am pronouncing it as L as this is Wilms tumor with pronunciation of L, but actually it is Wim's tumor. L is supposed to be silent here, huh? Or anyways, it's up to you. Wilms tumor, WILM, Wilm apostrophe S, huh? Wilms tumor. This is adenoma and and carcinoma together. They have small pinkish gray nodular structure embedded in kidney parenchyma. The nephroblastoma has the small pinkish gray nodular structure embedded in kidney parenchyma, or they may be large yellowish gray and lobulated masses. In advanced stages, they are large yellowish gray and lobulated masses that replace out most of the normal kidney tissue. That replace out most of the normal kidney tissues. They may be pedunculated or and connected to kidney by thin fibrous vascular stalk. They may be pedunculated and connected to kidney with thin fibrous vascular stalk. Larger tumors are often cystic and can involve both kidneys. Larger tumors are often cystic and can involve both kidneys. Adenomas and adenocarcinomas are variable in size and appear like nephroblastoma. The adenoma and adenocarcinoma are variable in size, kidney adenoma or kidney adenocarcinoma, and they appear like nephroblastoma, often multiple and cystic. Often multiple and cystic. The nephroblastoma is a typical tumor. Wilms tumor is a very typical tumor which has got the epithelial and mesenchymal elements both present in the tumor. Hmm? Both present in the tumor. It is having epithelial tumor also and mesenchymal tumorous elements also in that. It is a very typical tumor, and this in oncology also this histology of Wilms tumor is asked sometimes to describe the oncology of Wilms tumor, and they show uh, they tend to multiply there on the site and crowd out the surrounding tissue, and very rarely they also metastasize. Metastasis is not very common, but yes, it occurs rarely. The epithelial structures appear as malformed irregular tubules. And large malformed irregular tubules are the epithelial structures. There will also be atypical malformed glomeruli. Tubules appear very large and distended. Malformed glomeruli are there. Tubules appear very large and distended, um, with large cuboidal undifferentiated cells are present in the tubules with minimum proper histological organization. Large irregular cuboidal undifferentiated cells with minimum tubular organization. Although it appears like tubules, but they are not typically tubules, normal tubules. Now, this all tubular structures, they are embedded in the these all tubular structures are embedded in the loose mesenchymal or sarcomatous stroma. Normally, tumor stroma contains mostly fibrous connective tissue, different types of fibers, some inflammatory cells, okay, and some inflammatory cells. But in Wilms tumor, the epithelial structures are embedded in a stroma which is actually tumorous. We cannot call it stroma. We have to call it presence of mesenchymal tumorous structures. Okay. And sometimes, in very rare cases, we also find epithelial pearls of the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. In rare cases, there is also presence of epithelial pearls of stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. Hmm? And also sometimes formation of cartilage or bone. In likewise, tubular structure.
Sir, we cannot hear you.
Is it better now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, up to which part you could listen?
Sir, in very rare cases, there is epithelium and cartilage.
हाँ, नहीं, epithelial cartilage नहीं, epithelial pearl formation. Epithelial, if you remember the tumor of this eye cancer or horn cancer, the skin tumor, they are characterized by formation of epithelial pearls. But Wilms tumor is not a skin tumor, or I should say squamous cell carcinoma. It's not a squamous cell carcinoma, but it shows one squamous cell carcinoma like structure called as epithelial pearls. And apart from that, cartilage and bone formation may also take place. Cartilage and bone formation may also take place. In adenoma and carcinoma, in adenoma and carcinomas of kidney, especially there is a tubular adenocarcinoma where there is formation of abnormal tubules with tumor tissues, tumorous cells. Abnormal tubules with tumor cells, and also primitive abnormal glomeruli. Primitive abnormal glomeruli. Sometimes carcinomas are solid with no evidence of renal tissue. With no evidence of renal tissue. In this case, there is very rare evidence of cartilage and other mesenchymal tumor tissues, though it is not Wilms tumor. Wilms tumor should have the mesenchymal and epithelial elements both. Mesenchymal and epithelial elements both. But in pure adenoma and adenocarcinoma, the mesenchymal elements, the sarcomatous elements are not there. Only carcinomatous elements are present. Okay. The pathogenesis is mostly obsolete, although something they are giving, you may get confused. Then there is also presence of fibroma, fibrosarcomas, myxoma, myxosarcomas. With this ALC, they have also associated fibroma, fibrosarcoma, myxoma, myxosarcomas. If you remember, myxomas will have tenacious slimy material, mucoid associated with them. Myxoma and myxosarcoma have mucoid associated with them. It appears like mucin, but it is not true mucin. Then there is histiocytic sarcomas. There is histiocytic sarcomas. The pathogenesis I have discussed earlier, that there are two major ways of transformation. One is slow transformation. Slow transformation is by promotional insertion, where the complementary DNA synthesized by the reverse transcription of the viral RNA is inserted because of long terminal repeats. It induces the it induces the expression of downstream genes. And one of them, if it is oncogene, then the uncontrolled cellular proliferation starts and slowly neoplastic transformation occurs. Then another method is by presence of defective virus. Defective virus contains VONC. One of the gene is replaced by the viral by the cellular oncogene, which is now called as VONC, viral oncogene. And these are the acute transforming virus, fast transforming virus. And when they get inserted, this proto-oncogene, which is associated with virus, now became VONC, viral oncogene, gets expressed, causes uncontrolled proliferation of tissue, cell, and neoplastic transformation of the cell. Diagnosis. Sorry, before diagnosis, um, the other type of tumors, as I was discussing, myxoma, myxosarcoma, histiocytic sarcoma, this also causes reproductive tumors. This also causes reproductive tumors in ovary, like thecoma and granulosa cell tumor. Thecoma, THECO, thecal cells, huh? Thecoma and granulosa cell tumor, thecoma and granulosa cell tumor, and intestis seminoma. So there are numerous type of cells. Like in you understand this, this ALCJ can be of the uh, if you are within 10